Greetings, everyone out there on the World Wide Well. I am Dave Householder and blessed to be your teacher this morning. And I'm sitting in front of my bougainvillea, which occasionally tries to compost our house. I've had to go after it before with a chainsaw just to keep it in line. And it is nature's barbed wire, to say the least. It's one nasty plant, but it's beautiful this time of year, so I thought I would share that with you. And also share our front yard, which is the size of a quilt, here on Main Street and Huntington Beach. I'm just going to pan a little bit so you can get a feel for where I live out on Main Street here. A bunch of cameos with people walking by, and I am just real frustrated right now with bureaucracy, and I got to tell you why. And this has to do with today's Bible lesson in Acts 15. I've spent days now trying to secure this PPP loan, which is it's basically a grant from the government for small businesses, and trying to get one for our church. And it has been a nightmare going through our bank, and we keep getting rejections, and then they say it's fine, and then a rejection, then it's fine, then a rejection, then it's fine, then the money's out, we'll wait for the next wave, and then I get another one saying thanks so much for your application for this small business grant thing that the government put out. And a few hours later, we don't like the numbers on your accounting and your payroll stuff. So I try to explain that to somebody, and I can't find a human being to talk to for a whole day yesterday. So I'm very, very frustrated with bureaucracy, and the reason I'm sharing that is not so you will pity me. I'm not trying to complain. I'm trying to illustrate how difficult things can be in the real world. Nothing worse than calling someone up and hoping to talk to a person, getting a phone tree, and trying to outsmart the phone tree. And you know what I'm talking about. You try to get a real person by hitting zero a few times, and sometimes they disconnect you. And they always ask you, just go to our website. Well, as if I haven't been to your website. That's where I went to find the phone number so I could talk to somebody. And if you want to speak Spanish, hit 2, English 1, and listen, because our numbers have changed, and of course that's always the case, because I think they set it up so that they can get rid of as many people as possible. So I was in that, and the reason I'm bringing that up is that's what Acts 15 is all about. Paul and Barnabas come back from an incredibly successful business trip, their first missionary journey, where they just made all kinds of great contacts, started communities, got a bunch of great things going, and they were just thinking, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is working out really well. And then they get called into the home office. They get called into the home office because rumor has it they are connecting with Gentiles and not just Jews. And there are some people at the home office who think, in order to become a Christian, in order to become spiritual, whatever, you got to become a Jew first. Well, that doesn't go over real well with non-Jews, especially the circumcision thing, which is one of the biggest barriers to joining a faith system I can think of. And there's a circumcision party that says, no, you gotta circumcise these people, otherwise they're not really in. And Paul is going, oh gosh, we made this whole trip, we started these great communities, we asked for the Spirit to come, the Spirit came, people got healed, things happened, people sensed the presence of God. They built a community around these experiences in Galatia and Cyprus, and what do you mean we're getting called into the home office? We should be called in for a bonus, not for getting our hands slapped. And sure enough, they get their hands slapped, and they come to a rather tense understanding at the end. And they say there's going to be 4 rules. No eating strangled things, no fornication, no whatever. The rest of the rules we'll throw out, but make sure you keep these 4 rules. And to add insult to injury, they tell Paul and Barnabas, we're going to escort you back to your church to make sure that you give them the right story. So they send escorts with Paul and Barnabas to go back to Antioch, their home church, which was the church that sent them out on this whole trip in the first place. And that's insulting, because they didn't really believe that they would tell the story the way it should be told, because there was a disagreement. Who do we let in? Who do we let? It's just like the loan thing. These levels of bureaucracy. And then when Paul gets going, he gets caught up in all of this stuff, and he wants to go on another trip, because, hey, the first trip worked great. Barnabas, let's go on another trip. Let's go on another, let's go check this out. Let's start some more communities, ask for the Spirit to come, see if people get healed. Let's bring goodness into the world. Let's go do it again. and they get in a fight over whether or not to bring John Mark along. And there was a hefty disagreement, and Paul was known to do a lot of hefty disagreements, to say the least. And he and Barnabas split up, and Barnabas is like the nicest guy in the planet. The guy gets along with everybody. His name means the son of reconciliation, of friendship, and he's of encouragement. so the guy is, Barnabas is thinking, oh gosh, Paul's strong-willed and Barnabas just friendly, and they'd break up over this. Barnabas says, let's give this guy another chance. Paul says no, and so he has to find someone else to go with him, and nobody will go, so he picks Silas, the guy who escorted him from the home office. So that's that's a problem waiting to happen, and it probably will down the road. So he takes off and goes on the trip. I want to show you something that happens in the middle of all of this stuff. Here's Paul trying to bring goodness into the world, trying to bring the Spirit's presence into the world, trying to include more people that weren't included, trying to set up a meaningful spiritual community. And he gets nothing but hassle, even from his co-worker that he goes on these trips with. He could just get depressed and quit, but no. Right in the middle of the chapter, verse 36. And after some days, this is before Paul and Barnabas split up, Paul said to Barnabas, let us return and visit the brothers in every city where we proclaim the word of the Lord and see how they are. Then came the big split up, but Paul chose Silas, his hall monitor, and departed, having been commended by the brothers to the grace of the Lord, and he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. He went out and did his stuff. Isn't it cool where he just had a big run-in with Home Office, and he was about to go through a big split with his coworker, his partner, and right in the middle of it, he says, let's keep the main thing. Let's go strengthen the people that we connect with. Let's put our relationships first. Let's not just go out there and do a sales job on these people. Let's continue to cultivate these friendships. So I just want to ask you, what kind of friendships can you cultivate right now? Which people can you call up? We've got some time on our hands. Go ahead and think about that a little bit. I got to share a real interesting poem that was sent to me by a teacher in Los Angeles, Megan McCord, today, and it's just really neat. It's a poem by a Polish poet named Szymborska, Wisława Szymborska, and he wrote this poem, Nothing Twice, to pay attention to the moment, to pay attention to what's going on. Nothing can ever happen twice. In consequence, the sorry fact is that we arrive here improvising and leave without a chance to practice. Every day is like that. We show up and every day is an improv. And we don't have a chance to practice because everything happens just once, not twice. Even if there's no one dumber, even if you're the planet's biggest dunce, and I feel like that sometimes, you can't repeat the class in summer. You can't repeat this class in summer. The course is only offered once. No day copies yesterday. No 2 nights will teach what bliss is. Precisely the same way, with precisely the same kisses. One day, perhaps some idle tongue mentions your name by accident, and I feel as if a rose were flung into the room, all color and scent. The next day, though you're here with me, I can't help looking at the clock. A rose, what could that be on the floor over there? Is that a flower or a rock? You can't step into the same river twice. Nothing happens twice. We're in this day together, and you're going to face hassles. Hassles, bureaucratic hassles, time hassles, to-do list hassles, hassles with your coworkers and partners. In the middle of that, just like Paul though, just like Paul, if you want to make a difference in the world, think about the main thing that God's calling you to do. Think about your relationships. Think about how can you reach out to some people. I've got a list of some people I can reach out to today, and I'm going to do that. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you will too. Keep the main thing, main thing. Talk to you tomorrow, Acts chapter 16.